This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
The skies are getting darker, the wind is picking up, and as you can see, the clouds are rolling in. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Safari Live. You find yourself suspended above one of Africa's most ancient landscapes. It's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius, and a storm seems to be brewing all around. My name is James Hendry, and a special warm welcome to the Glenwood and Kingston Elementary Schools. It's lovely to have you with us. Please ask any questions that you want to during the course of this drive. It'll be really good to hear from you. Anything you like, we'll do our very best to answer. Now, come over here with me. I'm in the tent this afternoon, well, for the first part of the tent. And during the course of our little show today, we'll introduce you to the microscope over here. And we'll introduce you to Ronald the Rover. That will make no sense to you just yet, but it's quite exciting. And hopefully we'll do a little bit more from the air with Connor. He's our drone commander. So that's the story today. Hopefully we'll show you some exciting things. Out in the field, of course, we have Byron, who you may or may not have met yet. I think he's looking for a lion. And Taylor is probably looking for the queen of Djuma. That is Karula, our very favorite leopard. Now, shall we see what we can find to look under the microscope at? The first thing we're going to do is look at this thing. Ooh! It is a stinky thing called a longhorn beetle. Disgusting. The longhorn beetle has been dead for some time, but it looks really impressive under the microscope. And there it is. Ooh. Look at that, everybody. This beetle, well, I'll show you the full-size beetle shortly, is about 1.5 inches long. You can see his eyes, you can see he's covered in a little bit of fur, and you can see why, perhaps, that he's called a longhorn beetle. See, when I move him along, you can see his antennae are longer than his whole body. Isn't that amazing? Now, if you come back and have a look over here, you can see what he looks like, his whole size. And you see he doesn't look nearly as nice like this as he does under the microscope. And you know what? He smells disgusting. It's because he's dead and he's still got half his last meal inside him, and that's starting to rot, and really it's quite foul to smell. So I don't think we're going to look at him anymore. Let's head straight across to Taylor. She's going to tell you about the leopard she's going to look for, and I hope that she finds it with you shortly.
Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you here today. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me this afternoon is Craig. There he is. Craig is being attacked by stingless bees at the moment that are after all of his sweat. There are lots of them flying around, so every now and then you might see me swatting away, maybe hitting the back of my head, because sometimes they give off a little bite as well, and it's not so fun. So what we're going to do first this afternoon is that we had a beautiful big male lion. We actually had a big male lion on foot this morning. We were walking around. So we're going to go and see if we can try and find him again. And we're not far from where we left him. We're actually approaching a very, very big dam. And hopefully he's hung around there for most of the day, because it's been very hot here in South Africa. But now that the clouds are rolling in, it's nice and cool, which is fantastic, because hopefully we're not going to get this lion sleeping. Hopefully he's going to be awake and doing something exciting for us. Right, let's go up ahead. We're almost there. I hope you're ready to see this big, beautiful dam. As we're driving along here, we've also got to start looking for lion footprints because he could have moved today. I'm hoping that he stayed there. He looked like he was settling in for most of the day. And just a moment ago, and I'm sure you can see it, all the trees are blowing around quite vigorously at the moment. And Jason, you were wondering, how does the weather affect the animals out here? It depends, I suppose. When it's very windy like this, you'll see that the animals become a little bit more scared, especially the elephants and the impala, which is an antelope species, and well, most of the animals that are being hunted for prey. They can be a little bit nervous, and that's really just because they can't hear very well when the wind is gusting, and also because the wind is gusting, it starts to blow all the scents around in circles, and they can get very confused because they're not sure which way the smells are coming, and they can't hear very well. Now, he was sitting over here somewhere. Let's go around this way. We've got to keep checking nicely. He could have also been hiding from the wind, so maybe he's just sitting underneath one of these shrubs. So I hope you have your eyes and your, well, we have to have your ears open as well when you're out in the bush because you hear all sorts of things. Let's see where he is. I hope he's still around, because also with the wind that we've had today, it can become a little bit of a problem. Because if he has walked away, we need to try and find his footprints on these sandy roads, and well, the wind blows sand over the tracks, and then he can almost become invisible. But look what I've got up ahead. It's not a lion, it's something else. Look at these beautiful animals. We're going to find a little gap just over here. There they are. Now, you can see there are a lot of impala sitting down over here. And this is the most common antelope in Africa. So we don't have any deer in Africa, we just have antelope. And it sounds like they've seen something. Can you hear that? They are snorting. That is the alarm call of the impala. You can see they're looking around now. And basically what they're saying in impala language is that there's something here. And like I said, this is where we left that lion. I think we're going to have to go across on the dam wall and just scan around. Maybe he's moved slightly. But not all the impala look very stressed. You can see 3 of them are looking around. Hello, Chris. Chris, you're wondering if lions like to eat steak. Well, Chris, they love to eat steak, only if it's a steak from a buffalo or an impala or a kudu or a zebra, but not the kind of steak that we like to eat. They also prefer theirs blue, so very, very rare. Not how I like my steak, but yes, they do enjoy it. Now, with these impala, I'm just wondering, it doesn't sound like it's a very serious alarm call. Perhaps if this lion was around, maybe he's just hiding. They'd probably all be shouting, making that snorting noise, all looking exactly where, whatever the predator may be, the threat may be, and sometimes they even move towards it. Let's go back a little bit. Now, I mentioned earlier that maybe this lion could be sleeping. He was sleeping under he was hiding away very well, actually. And Darnell, you're wondering why would he be hiding away? Mainly from the sun. That would be the main reason why the lion would be hiding away, because it gets very hot here. I think I can see something. Let's go off-road here. I think I can see something under a tree, but we're going to go a little bit closer. So during the day, it gets very, very hot here in South Africa. Hi guys. And it's important that the cats try and find shade. Yes, yes, that's what they're shouting at. Can you see him there, Craig? There he is. So he hasn't moved at all since this morning. Look, as we start to zoom in, there we go. You can spot the big male lion, can't you? He is fast asleep. He doesn't even care that the impala are snorting at him. And maybe these impala have known he was here for quite some time, and that's maybe why they are not overreacting, is because they've been snorting at him maybe for most of the afternoon, just reminding each other that there is a lion here. And when an impala has spotted a predator, sometimes they move forward and they start shouting. And I'm just going to see, let's go a little bit closer. I'm just listening in the back, but I can't. I thought I heard something, but it's this wind playing games with me too. Now, he was very, very difficult to spot underneath this shrub. And Katie, you're actually wondering if lions have camouflage. They have camouflage in the form of the color of their coat. Look at this. Hello, big boy. We're getting the evil eye. So he almost blends in very, very well with the sand and the brown grass. But at this time of the year, when we're very fortunate and we've had lots and lots of rain, all the grass is nice and green. And well, sometimes then the lions don't blend into the vegetation very well. But in the winter months, everything changes. The grass starts to die and go a nice brown color, and then the predators have the full advantage. So basically, we call it the yellow season. And as you can see, he's almost got a yellow tinge to the color of his coat, and so do leopards. And it makes it very, very easy for them to hide away. You can just drive right past them, and if he was laying upside down, you wouldn't even know that they were there. Xavier here wondering if lions fight and if they would eat me. I think lions would probably only want to eat me if I cornered this lion in and I was on foot and he had nowhere to run away. But I would never do that to him. So he's pretty much scared of me as well. Most of the time when you see lions on foot, they run away from you. And that's just because there were lots and lots of people when the settlers arrived, so the first Europeans to start arriving in South Africa, even in Africa, they started hunting these animals. So they have a sort of fear for the human figure. But when we're in these cars, they don't see the human figure anymore, and we behave differently. So we don't shoot the animals, we just watch them, and we take lots of photos, and we do these amazing live feeds so that you can all watch. But other than that, that is all we do. And they do fight. Male lions will fight all the time. Sometimes they fight with the females too. And it's a bit tough, I think, when a male lion fights with a pride of females, because there's normally more females in the pride than there are males. Now, we're seeing just him here. He is one of 4 boy lions that live and patrol this area. They're called the Birminghams. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Birmingham males a little bit later. We're going to go back to James in the tent, who is looking at a hornbill.
Hello everybody, sorry about that. I made a big mistake. I bumped Brian. But look, Brian's the cameraman, by the way. Look over there. There's a very special bird. It's a hornbill, and it's eating white berries. Now, those white berries are even nice to human beings. Now, if you look at the hornbill's beak, the hornbill's beak tells you what the hornbill can eat. And the hornbill's beak like that allows it to eat all sorts of things. It can eat fruits, it can eat insects, it can even eat, believe it or not, chameleons that hornbill likes to eat. And so it's got lots and lots of things it can eat. Isn't it special? And it's a young one, and I know that because I can see that the beak is not as long as that of an adult. And I would like you to all guess how old you think that hornbill is. It's a young hornbill. How old do you think it is? And you won't believe it. You won't believe me when I tell you how old I think that hornbill is. So you all have a guess. Tell your teacher what you think, and then I'll tell you how old I think that hornbill is. While we watch him, and I'm going to just tell you a few little facts about him while you think about this. So, when it was born from its little egg, this hornbill, this yellow-billed hornbill, was born in the hole of a tree. So that's where the nest is. They don't make a stick nest. They live in the hole of a tree. And then it was fed by its mum and its dad. Here, it's still up there, Brian, if you can see it there. It was fed by its mum and its dad in the tree hole. And let me tell you then what happened. So its eyes opened when it was 5 days old. So it couldn't close its eyes. It couldn't open its eyes before it was almost a week old. Then it remained in the nest for 20 days. So that's almost 3 weeks. Then, by the time it was only 35 days old, that's just over a month, it was already the same weight as its mum and as its dad. Isn't that amazing? So, Pawtucketville School, you think that this bird is 23 years old. This bird, everyone, is probably less than 2 months old. Isn't that astounding? 35 days before it weighs the same as its mum and dad. Now, you're going to take probably a good 16, 17, 18, maybe 20 years to be as heavy as your mum and your dad's. Now, Graham, you're wondering what eats a hornbill and why they get so big. Well, he's not big. He's just the same size as mum and dad. He's just got a slightly shorter beak because that grows slowly. But his actual size is only about a foot long. He's about a foot long from the tip of the beak to the end of the tail. In fact, he's over a foot long, about a foot and a half long. And, Graham, you're wondering what eats him. Well, a hornbill like that could be eaten by a number of things. I suppose his greatest risk would be from something like an African hawk eagle. That's a bird that catches other birds. Or maybe something like a dark chanting goshawk. So any of the hawks that can eat a bird this big. Then also he could easily be eaten by a genet, which is like a sort of cat mixed with a mongoose. He could be eaten by even that lion that Taylor saw. It's possible that a lion would eat a hornbill, but it would be very difficult for him to catch. So anything basically that eats meat that is bigger than the hornbill will try and eat him. Isn't that amazing? That was wonderful. Now, Byron, my friend, has got something much slower and something that doesn't eat any birds.
Look at that, everyone. We found a tortoise, and this beautiful tortoise is called a leopard tortoise. Lovely to see him. Look what a great spot that was. Good afternoon. My name is Byron, and with me on camera this afternoon is Dave, and it's great to have all of you with us. And it's so interesting that we got to find that little leopard tortoise. I'm just having a look around here, and if you listen carefully, let's see if he starts calling. Do you hear that? There's a bird calling and making a loud noise, and it's called a guinea fowl. Now, that is actually an alarm call, so I'm having a look around to see if maybe the guinea fowl has seen something that we haven't yet, but I can't see anything, so I'm going to have a look very carefully. I doubt he's alarm calling at that beautiful tortoise, though. Now, the tortoise is moving very slowly through the long grass there now. He's just hiding it from us a little bit. Don't know if you can still see him. Look how well camouflaged it is. Now, the camouflage is basically the coloration that helps him hide away from potential predators, but a tortoise that size, to be honest, is probably safe from any predators because it's big enough that I don't think anything has jaws strong enough, not even a lion or hyena, to get their jaws around that shell to damage or eat the tortoise. So it's probably quite safe. Now, Pawtucketville, you'd like to know how old that tortoise is. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to gauge the age of tortoises unless you really go and count the rings on their shell. It's probably between 5 and 10 years old, I would guess. Maybe somewhere around there, which is quite old if you think about it. But the leopard tortoises can live for many, many years, up to 50, 60, even longer than that. They can live for many years, especially in captivity, if people keep them as pets. Lovely to see them. Dylan, you asked, do tortoises eat meat? Now, generally they don't. Dylan, these tortoises will feed on grass and that. However, if tortoises do come across a carcass They have been known to feed on a little bit of meat, and it's purely to get nutrients that they need or that they are lacking. But usually they don't. They feed on the vegetation, on the grass and the plants that are in the area. Now, I'm still listening to that guinea fowl in the distance, but I can't see anything. I don't know what he's alarm calling at, but it could be anything. It could have been maybe a leopard or a lion, but it could also have been a bird. So there are a number of different options of predators that this guinea fowl would be alarm calling at. So, but he's very upset about something, but I can't see anything that has walked around here. I'll even have a look on the road. And Jelani, you want to know why are tortoises so slow? I don't know. I think one of the reasons would be is that they're basically reptiles that they need to conserve their energy. So by moving slowly, they save energy. And because they don't, I think when they don't hold a lot of water well, so they need to move slowly so they don't lose the water that they do drink when they do drink. And that would be my guess. And I say it's a guess because I'm really not sure. I don't know why tortoises are slow. It's just the way they are built and the way they've been made. But good question. And look at that beautiful, beautiful starling up on the tree. That's a Burchell starling. Beautiful colors of that bird. And that guinea fowl is still calling. He's very upset about something. But aren't those colors magnificent with the light hitting the wings of that bird, of the starling? Now, speaking of magnificent, Taylor is still sitting with that incredible male lion. Let's go have a look.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me, I was just having a little nap there. That lion made me very tired. He looks exhausted, and he still hasn't woken up yet. But I suppose that is very normal, because these big male lions, can you believe that they can sleep for up to 20 hours a day? And he looks like the kind of boy that doesn't want to get up on the first time his alarm goes off in the morning. I think he likes to hit the snooze button. But you can see he's slowly getting there. Hopefully he's going to start yawning for us and grooming himself. Now you can see every time he lifts his head up, he shows that beautiful big mane of his, which is one of the reasons why he's a beautiful big male, whereas a female doesn't have a mane. She has just got no hair around her neck. And Jane, you're actually wondering, why do male lions have these big manes? Now the main thing is it's for protection. So when male lions fight, normally they will try and go for the sensitive and vulnerable areas like the throat, and of course maybe even behind the back of the neck, where they would normally try and catch their prey by. So they've got these big manes to protect their throat, to protect their heart, their lungs. And they have to try and fight and go for other places. They can be savage when they are fighting. They've got very sharp claws. They've got very sharp teeth. And of course, they're big, powerful, strong creatures. It's also to show dominance, though. Normally, the bigger the male, the bigger the mane, the darker the mane, the better genetics that they have, too. And the females will maybe choose a male by the color of his mane as well. But he hasn't done any big yawns for us. He hasn't started grooming just yet, so he hasn't started licking himself. And normally that means that he is going to wake up. But I think we're getting there, because he's not really sleeping at the moment. He sort of keeps sitting up and he looks around. Impala is still moving around just behind us. They don't really care too much that he's here. And that's because now that the Impala know that there's a sleeping lion, there's no ways that the sleeping lion is going to be able to catch those Impala, because those Impala are much quicker than this male lion. So this male lion, in order to catch an impala, would have to sneak through the grass and try and get close to them. Now, speaking about catching impala, Claire, you're wondering how often do lions need to eat? Now, unfortunately, they're not very good hunters. I mean, you can see the way that he's fast asleep over there. What's he going to do? He needs to try and put a lot of effort into, of course, hunting. But we're going to quickly take another look at him, and I want to show you how big and powerful his sort of paws are. And you can see he's got very, very strong shoulders. So they need to try and sneak up to their prey. They've got to try and sink that body into the grass or hide behind a shrub. And the animal that they're going after mustn't know that they are there. You can see those massive front paws, so they've got lots of power in the tail. They will rush out at it and chase it and hope to grab it with those big paws. So that's why their front paws are so much bigger than their back paws, is because they carry all the weight in their shoulders. But I reckon if they can catch something every 3 to 4 days, they would be very, very happy lions. But unfortunately, like I said, they're not the greatest hunters. So every time they attempt to hunt, say out of every 10 hunts that they try and catch something, they might only be successful maybe 3 times. So they're not very good hunters, unfortunately. But they'll catch something big like a buffalo, an African buffalo, or a big kudu, which is a massive antelope, even a zebra. And if they catch one of those animals, they'll be able to feast upon their prey for many, many days. So they'll even eat the rotting meat after it's been baking in the sun, covered in the maggots from all of the flies. They don't mind that. They've got the toughest, of course, stomachs. We're going to see if we can take another look at the impala. Just want to show you how relaxed they are, seeing as they're just sitting right next to us. Look at all the little lambs, all the babies sitting down in the grass. There they are. And they're probably sitting down because it's windy, just trying to keep out of the wind when you're low down to the ground. Eve, you're asking if antelope hunt for food. Luckily, they don't have to hunt because all the grass and leaves is all around them. So that's what they're feeding on. They're not catching any animals. They've just got to try and find the good spots where the sweetest grass and the newest leaves are. So they often keep moving around and searching for food all the time. It's almost like they're doing mini migrations, I suppose. But you can also see that they're chewing. Can you see how they're chewing their food? I'm sure that looks like some of you when you're chewing bubble gum, don't you think? Now what they're doing there, they've got a very similar stomach like a cow. So I'm sure that you've learned that a cow has got 4 chambers inside its stomach, and we call them ruminants. So they basically digest their food very, very, very well. But in order to digest their food very well, they digest it the first time, so they eat it. They chew it, they swallow it, it then goes into another chamber, it then gets regurgitated. So regurgitated means that they basically spit it back up into their mouths, and that's what they're chewing at the moment. They are chewing the cud, and then they will swallow it again for a second time to go into another chamber of their stomach to get digested again. And that is why the dung of the impala, the poop, is so small and so fine. But you can see that they are keeping a very close eye on these lions. But now we've got something very special for you. Byron has gone all the way to Chitwa Dam, and hopefully he's going to be able to show you some hippopotamus.
Now have a look here, everyone. We're at this beautiful big dam, and we've got a lot of exciting animals to show you here. We've got some hippo, there are a lot of birds around. Now there are crocodiles in this dam too, and I'm hoping we see them, but I'm looking very, very carefully. I think they're just in the water, so it's not always too easy to see them. But what we can see are the hippo. Have a look at that. Look at their ears and nostrils sticking out of the water. Every now and then you'll see them flicking their ears. Oh, there's a bit of a yawn. Oh, wonderful. Look at that. That's still a young hippo. Not a very big one. It can get much, much bigger. And their teeth get much longer. Much, much longer than that. Very sharp teeth. Isn't this a lovely surprise? So glad we got to show you all the hippo. I'm just scanning very carefully to see if I can find a crocodile for you. But I haven't seen one yet. And like I say, when they are hiding in the water, you don't often see them. And they're very, very secretive. So we'll have to scan very carefully. And these are big crocodiles. I've seen them before. Very, very large. Now Hannah, you want to know how those hippo open their mouths so wide. So a hippopotamus can open its mouth at almost 170 degrees, 160 or 170 degrees. So if our mouths are closed like this, they can open their mouths to about that wide. Isn't that incredible? Now, you'd wonder why, because they don't hunt other animals. The hippo only eat grass. So the hippo would come out of the water, and mostly at night. They like to feed when it's dark, when it's much, much cooler and it's not so hot. And they will go and look for grass, and they'll feed on the grass. But what happens is the hippo, if they do feel threatened or if they're in danger, they'll open those mouths very, very wide. And you'll see their sharp, sharp teeth, and they will then use their teeth to protect themselves against any other predators or any predators that might be around. There are a lot of birds around here too. A lot of birds, a lot of Egyptian geese. We'll try to find some for you and show them to you. There's quite a few around. A few little swallows and that flying over the water. Now, Alison, you wanted to know, how do hippos take a bath? Well, they don't really. The hippos live in the water, so they probably don't have to. Out of all the animals here, they probably don't have to. And they live in the water even though they can't breathe underwater. They have to come up for air. So they stay in the water purely because they feel comfortable and safe in there. In the water, nothing can harm them. So, and there you can see them resting with their heads on top of one another. They often do that. Colton, very interesting question. You want to know how long a hippo can hold their breath for. So on average, it's between 7 and 8 minutes. That's about an average length of time that they can hold their breath. I've read, and some people think a bit longer, but I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes. But usually what they'll do is they'll probably only hold their breath for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then they come up again for air. It's only if they really have to. Dylan, these hippos definitely fight each other, and usually it's the big males, and the reason for that is they want to fight one another so that they can have their territory, so they can have the dam to themselves. They don't have to share it with other big males, and the main reason for that is for the females. For the female hippo, the male wants to have all of them to himself, the big male to himself. So he'll try and fight the other big males and chase them away. But they can do serious damage with those big teeth, as you can imagine. Now, it's really funny, and getting back to Dylan's question on how long they can hold their breath for. Oh, there we go. Look at that. There go the Egyptian geese. Oh, wonderful. Look at all of that. You see, look how many there are. Plenty of Egyptian geese. Now, they're not from Egypt. They've just got beautiful colored faces, and they look almost like they were painted by the Egyptians with the coloration and the facial markings. I think that's where the name Egyptian geese come from. But they're not from Egypt. There's another one over there. You can see it's quite windy today, and you can probably hear it too. Very, very windy at the moment. It looked like we were going to get rain. Maya, you wanted to know, do the hippos fight other creatures in the water? And Maya, they don't. The only thing that would be in the water with them would be the crocodiles. But the crocodiles and the hippo, because they live in the water together, they generally stay out of each other's way. So the crocodiles know that if they get too close to those hippo, they could be in some serious trouble or serious danger. So they stay out of their way, and the hippos keep to themselves. So generally, they don't really interact with other animals at all. Not very much. It's lovely sitting at this dam. There's so much going on. You can hear the hippos. Let's see if they make another sound. And they do this wonderful, almost like a, I don't know how to explain it, if it's a trumpet or if it's it's like a grunting sound, I would say. That's a sound that the hippo make. I wonder if we'll get any of them to call back to us. Doesn't sound like maybe my hippo noise isn't very good. I'm trying to see. I'm hoping we get one or two more yawns from the hippo so you can see those big mouths and teeth again. I'm just looking around to see if there are any other animals that might come down to drink. And Jason, you want to know if the hippo have hair? And they do, Jason. Not very much, but they do have a little bit of hair on their body, but very, very thin hair and very widespread. It's not clumps of hair. So every now and then you'll get a little single strand of hair over the body. And it's not long at all. And they do have hair. The hippo do have hair. There you can see some of them nicely now, just on the left. There we go. See those big bodies, and then they submerge again. Those hippo are probably standing on the bottom of that water of this dam. And the reason I say that is because the hippo actually don't swim very well, or at all. So what will happen is the hippo will do this. They'll basically run on the bottom of the waterhole or the dam to get from one side to the other, and every now and then they push up. They might try to kick their legs, but it's just trying to propel themselves up, but they don't actually swim very well. And they come up for air, they'll go down and then run on the bottom of the riverbed or the dam again to get to the other side where it's a bit shallow but deep enough that they can keep their bodies under the water, but they'll just keep their heads above when they need to breathe. Now I'm going to sit here a little bit longer, and while I do that, let's head back to my friend James, who's still in the tent.
Hello everybody. Look under the microscope, there's something terrifying. Look at that. Do you know what that is? It's a fly. And if you look closely towards the top of the screen, you can see the little tube that it would stick into you if it was here, if you were here. Now, I caught this fly trying to eat something off my leg, so I hit it. And unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, it died. And interestingly, we can now look at its different parts. So if you look at the very, very top there of the screen, I'm just going to see if I can't point at it with a little piece of grass. I think it's going to be very difficult, but I'm going to try. Hang on a second. Whoops, the daisies. Let's come back to me one sec. So what I'm just going to quickly do is see if I can get this grass stalk underneath. There we go. Almost there. And right. Okay. Now, if you go back to the microscope there, now you can see that little piece of white stuff at the bottom that's my little grass stalk, and I'm pointing at the sharp black tube that the fly would stick into you. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever had to give a blood test, or perhaps you've had an injection. I'm sure most of you would have had an injection. That's what the needle that gives you an injection looks like. It's very, very sharp. It's the same shape as that, and it sticks into the flesh. And this flesh-eating fly will then suck up your juices. Isn't that disgusting? But it's a tiny little thing, so all you have to do is slap it hard, and it will become dead. There we are. Now, Xavier, you were asking a question about owls earlier and how they manage to hoot. Well, I was thinking about this and how best to explain it to you. I want you to put your hand on your throat here, right? Xavier, yours won't be quite as big as mine yet because you're not as old as me. I'm very old. But all of you can do this, and you can feel when you speak that there's a hard piece of your throat that moves up and down. Can you see that? That's called the Adam's apple. You also won't have a beard yet, Xavier, and if you do, you should probably be a few years above the class that you're in now. A bird doesn't have that, but it's got something similar underneath the trachea. So pretty much over here, if you can imagine that on a bird, that's where it is, and it's called a syrinx. Now, the syrinx is basically a whole lot of little tubes, or it's two tubes, and when you blow air through them, they vibrate. They make a sort of waving noise, and that waving noise gives off the hoot that an owl makes, or any bird for that matter. Now, the best way for me to describe that to you, I don't know if you've ever played a saxophone maybe, or a clarinet, or an oboe, or perhaps you've learned how to whistle with grass. Have you ever done that, where you take a piece of grass and you put it between your thumbs and you blow into it? What that does is it makes a noise because there's a reed. In the case of the saxophone and the clarinet, the reed is wobbling like this, and that makes a sound. And in case of the grass, it's wobbling and making a whistling sound. And that's basically how an owl hoots. When you're a little bit older, I think it might be a little bit easier to understand. But it does work in much the same way that our own voices work. All right, let's head back to Taylor and her lion.
The lion just got up. Can you believe it? Look at all the impala now, though. Look at how they're all shouting because they've seen him move. And there are some funny sounds coming from these impala. Now you can hear it's more serious. And like I said, if this lion does get up and start running towards them, they will be able to get away very quickly. Even those tiny little babies in the middle, they'll be able to race away at the side of their mom and make sure that they get out safely. But this is really, really cool to see. It's not often that you get to see a lion and an antelope species so close together, especially when that lion is not hunting them. This is very, very cool. But they don't look like they're going to run anywhere. Just going to wait for Taxon to reposition, and then we'll also go around. Actually, I think we're going to go the scenic way around. Yes, I think let's go the scenic way around, because he's lying just underneath this shrub over here. Maybe we can even see his face Oh, he's so sneaky. There he is. Just looking at us. So he didn't move very far. He just moved a little bit away, but still hiding behind a shrub. But he's got a very bad limp at the moment, and maybe that's why he's not moving around so much. On his front right leg, he doesn't seem to be able to put too much weight on it. So maybe he's hurt his shoulder, maybe he's hurt his paw itself, maybe there's a thorn in it. But he'll be alright because these animals are big and strong and very, very tough. So something like an injury like that, unless it's a broken bone, probably wouldn't bother him too much at all. And he doesn't seem to be in too much pain. Now, Sawyer, you're wondering how old can a male lion live up to? Use his next years wisely, because by the time he reaches about 8 years old, so in 2 years' time, there'll probably be other bigger, stronger males coming into this area to try and take away his territory. But I want you to have a look at his eyes now, and hopefully he's going to open them for us. So we have given him the name. Remember I told you that there were 4 Birminghams, 4 big male lions. This is Nsuku, and that means gold. And the reason why he has been given that name is because of his beautiful eyes. They are the most gorgeous golden yellow. And as soon as he opens them, they really, really do stand out quite easily. And let's hope, like he was doing earlier, he's going to look back at us. There we go. He's starting to open them, but there's a piece of grass hiding behind his eyes. I'm actually going to go forward, Craig. I'm going to go a little bit further forward, just so we can move away from that piece of grass that's obstructing his view of his beautiful golden yellow eyes. There we go. That will be a little bit better now. But you can see that there's other cars in the sighting with us. That's because we are on a private game reserve, and there are lots and lots of people that come on safari to come and see these beautiful animals. And I'm sure that you are also all hoping that you get to come on a safari one day. And it's the most amazing holiday. I can promise you that you will all love it. Come on, big boy. Open your eyes for us now. You can see he's got a couple of scars on his face. He's got a bit of a scar on his top left eye, which you can't see now. And that's very, very typical for male lions to have lots of scars, because they often fight quite a bit. Now we're going to go back across to Byron, who is still at Chitwa Dam, and he's still got a beautiful big pod of hippopotamus.
I do indeed, Taylor. The hippo are still around here enjoying the water. I can hear a few of them blowing bubbles. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Look, you can see the hippo all over. If we have a look to our left again, yeah, look, there's some, let's see, they're playing a bit there. Have a look at that. Those two just at the stump. And looked like 2 young hippo. Now, Adam, you asked what are hippos' prey. Now, Adam, the hippos don't hunt anything. So, unless you mean what are the hippos' predators. Now, remember, firstly, let's just talk about again the hippo and what they feed on. The hippo do not hunt other animals at all. They only eat grass. They'll only come out and feed in the clearings up, as you can see, just up behind them. There are these beautiful big clearings, And we'll show you now where about but through the back there's a lot of green grass, and that's all that the hippo feed on. So they'll move out, go and feed in the evenings, eat some grass, and then come back to the water later on. Now, in terms of predators, which is what would hunt the hippo, well, to be honest, the only animal big enough and strong enough to hunt hippo would be lions. But lions very seldom hunt hippo, but it does happen. So the only predator that the hippo really have to look out for would be lions. There's still a lot of Egyptian geese flying all over. There you go. They keep flying across the dam. It's lovely to see them, and you can hear them making a noise. It's still very, very windy here. As I was saying, it looked like it was going to rain, and we had a few little drops, but then it stopped. So I'm not sure if it is going to rain or not. But luckily, for the moment, it's staying away, and we are able to show you these wonderful hippo. And then, of course, Taylor with the lion, and James in the tent to have a look at all the little interesting insects and things that he's kept in the tent for us and to show you. Now, thank you very much to Kingston Elementary and Glenwood. It was lovely having you on Safari Live with us. Really hope you enjoyed it. And I understand that you are leaving us now. We'll hopefully see you again soon. So goodbye, Kingston and Glenwood Elementary. It's lovely to have you. And we'll see you all soon. So from my friend James and Taylor and myself, goodbye, and we'll see you all soon. Just as I said goodbye, we had a wonderful yawn from the hippo, also saying goodbye to them. Now, this is really special. I could sit here for hours. It's so nice and calm and peaceful. Look at those two hippo, very playful. Definitely younger hippo. And I can just see that they're younger because they do look a lot smaller. Hippo, when they are big, they can get very, very large. I might sit here a little bit longer, otherwise I might just decide to move on and see what else we can find out on safari this afternoon. We've had a wonderful, wonderful view of this hippo. But now, my friend James has got more interesting things he'd like to show you in the tent, some of which aren't alive anymore.
Caden, you were wondering about what is the most deadly creature we get out here. Let's just have a look up here. And you tell me which one of these things you think is the most deadly. Do you think that a zebra is lethal? That's pretty lethal. I mean, it's pretty big, isn't it? Then maybe it's a wild dog. That's like a wolf of Africa. Do you think that's lethal? This thing, honey badger, very, very clever animal. Do you think he's lethal? He could be quite lethal. Those are the predators that we have up here. And then an enormous wildebeest. Now, he's quite big. I'm not sure how lethal he would be, though. Then over here, an enormous buffalo. They are huge. This one's head probably weighs 40 pounds. They probably could be lethal. Here's a springbok, not so lethal. Here's a duiker. They're not so lethal. Here's another kind of duiker. You can see these are small antelope. They're probably okay. Monkey, very sharp teeth, could be quite scary. Baboon, very, very scary. Not the most lethal, though. Here, a little cat called a serval. You can see not nearly as lethal as the lion. Do you think he's quite lethal? He's quite lethal. The most lethal? Here's a leopard, much smaller than a lion, so probably not as lethal as a lion. Then here is a hyena. This one, of course, has had its face bitten off. Shame. Anyway, those are the sorts of things that we have in here. And then a giraffe. Do you think a giraffe is lethal? Brian, do you think a giraffe's lethal? I'm not so sure, but I'll show you what the most lethal animal in Africa is now. That there, I know it's going to be slightly disappointing to you, Caden, but this creature's relatives are the most lethal things in Africa. This is a mosquito. Can you believe that a mosquito is the most lethal animal in Africa? We're a place where we get elephants and rhino and buffalo and leopards and lions and hyenas and giraffes and wild dogs and cheetahs, crocodiles, hippos. This thing is the most lethal creature in all of Africa, and that's because it gives you a very terrible disease. Not this particular one. This particular one doesn't carry the disease, but a special kind of mosquito called the Anopheles mosquitoes. They carry something called malaria. Now, malaria is a disease that still kills millions of people in Africa every single year, and they kill far more than crocodiles or hippo or lion or any of the other animals that we get here. So that, Caden, is for you, and you know that is the most lethal creature in all of Africa. Now, Kingston Elementary School, Oh, you've gone. You've left us, unfortunately. Oh, well. Never mind. We've got Pawtucketsville still with us here. And we're going to go outside the tent briefly, because we could see a little rainbow a little earlier, but there was also a very nice question from one of the other schools, which unfortunately I didn't get a chance to answer. There was a rainbow over there, which was very beautiful, but it seems to have gone. There was a great question from one of the classes, the Kingston class, and they said, what is the most important non-living thing out here? And it's a really clever question, because if you look at this ground here, you would say to yourself, well, I don't think there's much interesting there. There isn't much that's very important to the life of everything else. Well, here's a stick. Let's have a little bit of a closer look. This, everybody, is the soil. And it doesn't look like much, does it? It doesn't look like this soil will be good for anything. But without this soil and the nutrients that are in it, so there's lots and lots of vitamins and minerals sitting in the soil. In fact, so much so that sometimes some animals will eat the soil. Sometimes animals will eat the soil because it's got so many minerals and vitamins in it. And that's a really good idea. So the most important non-living thing out here is the soil. It has all the nutrients that all the plants here live off, that all the animals live off, and without the soil, of course, there'd be nothing here. Thank you, all of you. I nearly said Mr. Pawtucketsville. Thank you, all of you from Pawtucketsville. I don't even know where that is. It sounds like a wonderful place. I hope you have a very good day at school, and we will see you hopefully on safari again very soon. Stay very warm.
So we're still with dear Nsuku as he sleeps away. And he moved around a little bit and he had a big limp. And I know Byron said that he saw him limping around this morning. Now, I wonder what's happened. When I watched him, I don't know if he has something in his paw. It's in his right leg. I think that he's maybe hurt his shoulder a little bit. I think as he was gallivanting around, maybe he was chasing something, or maybe he was fighting with other lions. I'm not sure, but I think he's hurt his shoulder. The way he puts his foot on the ground, it looks like he's not really afraid to put weight down in his actual foot, but it looks like it just hurts in sort of the joint as he's walking. But I suppose we'll never know. We can really only just speculate about him, of course. Now, if you have just started watching us, welcome, and we're so happy to have you with us this afternoon, and we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions for us, please send them through on Twitter, and you can add the hashtag Safari Live, or questions@wildearth.tv if you're planning on emailing us, and we will get them that way too. So if you've got any questions about this lion or really just about coming on safari, we'd love to have chats with you this afternoon. And I honestly thought we were going to get lucky, and once he'd woken up the first time, I thought he was going to start moving around, maybe go on a slow walk somewhere. But sadly, he is still just fast asleep over here. Let's have a look, and hopefully he's going to look at us again. He keeps doing this thing where he lifts up his head, and well, we get to see his beautiful golden eyes, which are absolutely lovely. Oh, it's so windy at the moment. No, sorry, I was just having a quick listen to the Game Drive radio. They were talking about leopard tracks, but it sounded like the Karoo learner cubs might still be in Little Gowrie, but maybe they're going to come north. Now, Jonathan, you were actually asking this afternoon, how long can a male lion defend his territory for? It's quite a complex answer. I suppose there's not just one thing you can say about it. And at the moment, as he sleeps over here, it doesn't look like he could do a very good territorial patrols. They're often spraying urine, they're calling, letting everybody know that they are here. And it depends, if it's a young coalition of lions that come in and try and overthrow the Birminghams, if the Birminghams are all split up and it's just Mfumo on his own, or maybe Mfumo and Tinyo together, but if Nsuku and Nena are not around, they could be in a bit of trouble. And that happens quite often, is where these younger coalitions come through and they catch the dominant coalition that is currently in that area, defending that territory. And of course then they will, either kill them or chase them away and hope that they never return. And then it makes it easier again to sort of take down the rest of the coalition. But I reckon these boys are in the prime of their lives. As you know, they're about 6 years old now. And I think if there's no younger males coming through, so say we give them the benefit of the doubt and there's no other males, up and coming boys coming, they'll probably have, I would say a couple of years till they're about 9 or so, and then unfortunately they're going to get, quite weak and battered, and it'll be easier for younger males to come through, very much like what happened with the Matimbas and of course these beautiful Birminghams. But I think we're going to head out from here now. There's a couple of people coming from Buffelshoek and Cheetah Plains to come and have a look at this male lion, and we're not going to move off of Djuma. We're going to go and maybe give the boys down in the southern sector a hand to see if we can maybe find Karula. The more eyes the better, and then hopefully when we get a word that he's up and moving around, we'll come back here and have a look. Oh, hang on, but before we do, let's have one more look, seeing as though he's just opened his eyes. No, not for very long. That was very brief. Oh, Kirsty, you are so sneaky. Kirsty just got me so excited. She said that I've got to say goodbye to you, and you've got to very quickly go across to Byron, who's got a leopard tortoise.
And now I've got off the vehicle because I found a magnificent specimen that I'd like to show you. Have a look at this friend that I have found on our afternoon drive. Look how big this leopard tortoise is. He is huge. This really, really is a magnificent leopard tortoise. Now, I'm not even going to try and count the rings around his shell. There are far too many. But I would guess this leopard tortoise, he must be close to 40 or 50 years old, judging by his size. I mean, it's difficult to gauge the age, but he definitely is very, very big. I'm going to see if he's going to be friendly, and I'd like to see if I can maybe scratch the back of his head. Let's see, he seems a little bit shy. There we go, he's sticking his head out now. Come on. It's so funny, they actually enjoy it. It's so funny. They really enjoy the back of their heads being scratched. Now, he stuck his head out, and then he saw that I was still sitting here, even though he was enjoying the head scratch. Then he pushes his head back in. There he comes. Oh, it's wonderful. Such a lovely, lovely specimen. This is incredible. It's so nice to see something like this size. Definitely very prehistoric, don't you think? That is wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful coloration and pattern on that leopard tortoise shell. And there he goes. Look at that. That is great. Ooh. Almost fell into the Land Rover. Oh, that was nice. Nice little surprise. Not so little, actually. A nice big surprise. Big tortoise. Let's see what else we can find. I'm looking for something else large. I'm looking for elephant. That would be nice. And who knows, maybe Karula sticks her head out somewhere. It would be wonderful if we got to see some leopard this afternoon. Stick with us. You never know. Things happen when you least expect it. And it's a lovely cool afternoon now. It is quite windy, so it's actually ideal conditions for leopards to be moving around, and lions too, if they did feel like hunting, because it's definitely easier when it is windy and raining, because what that does is it masks the sound of the lions as well as the smell, so it's difficult for the prey species to hear or see the predators. Tailing, you're a new viewer. Welcome to you. Lovely to have you on Safari Live. It's always nice when we get new viewers. You wanted to know how we as presenters and the cameramen protect ourselves from the animals out here. Well, we are all qualified, especially the presenters or the guides. We've all been guides. I still guide guests, so we do understand the bush, and we do have a good appreciation for the wildlife, and also a good respect for the wildlife. So we are very careful. We're always careful, but we tend to read the signs and see if animals are aggressive or not. So we know what to do if we do get into any situations that are a bit hairy. But generally the animals are happy with us moving past, viewing them. We don't interfere with them. We don't make them feel threatened. And that's the most important thing. And that's why the animals then soon become relaxed around the vehicles, and they allow us to view them without acting aggressively, which is what we want. We are purely here to view and appreciate the wildlife. So it really is great to be able to do that, but it comes with a mutual respect. We do have to respect the animals and know that we are in their habitat, and we are here enjoying viewing of all kinds of animals, but we are still very careful. We have to be. There's some francolins calling off to my right. Don't think you'd be able to see them. The grass is very long at the moment. I'm just having a look. No, can't see them, unfortunately. The grass is far too long. I'm going to continue my search for wildlife. While we do that, let's get an update from Taylor and the big lion that she had earlier.
The wind is definitely proving to be a little bit of a challenge this afternoon. Oh, hang on. Can you see in the... don't drop behind the sky. Can you see that there's a big bird flying in the distance there, Craig? It's going to come out. Where are you going to pop out there? There was some raptor flying about. There we go. It's just landed in the tree. There we go. Oh, no, it was about to. And it's being mobbed by hornbills. I think African grey hornbills. And who are you? Who are you? Is it yep, it's an African Harrier hawk that they're chasing. You saw that white band in the tail. There they go. That was really cool. And it's so typical to see birds chasing African Harrier hawks because they are notorious for poking their legs into little holes in the trees and stealing, of course, little chicks. So it's no surprise to any of us out here that it is being chased by something like a hornbill. And they'll chase it right away. And I always think it's amazing how the smaller birds, even something like a fork-tailed drongo, will mob the largest of raptors. And well, speaking of hornbills, here we have two sitting just in a tree above us. And these are red-billed hornbills. A pair, a male and female. Hello. Trying to hold on for dear life in the wind that we have this afternoon. Here we go. You can use their tails, I suppose, as a windsock. And they look much happier now that that African Harrier hawk has moved off. Having a good scratch of the beak, keeping it nice and clean and a preen. Hello, White Lady Earwind. Now, you've asked how many different species of hornbills do we have in South Africa. I think we've got quite a few. Should we do the ones that we have here? I'm going to open my book so I can show you pictures, but they all look pretty similar. Right, now, which page do I need to go? H. Hornbill. I can't believe I don't remember some of these pages. There we go. Let's go to page 266. Yes, there we go. Are you ready? So we have a look at my book now. And you can see that just on this page, we've got a couple. So we see the southern ground hornbill. That's one that we get. We haven't really been seeing them lately, though. We've been hearing them again, which is a fantastic sign. That's the top one. We don't see the silvery-cheeked hornbill, which is over here. Occasionally, we used to see these down in the southern Sabi sand along the banks of any of the rivers, especially if there were figs on any of the trees or even on the jackalberries. That's the trumpeter hornbill with a big sort of casque on top of its beak. Then the ones that we just saw, which were chasing that African Harrier hawk, is the African grey hornbill. Then we also, just to the right of that over here, we get the southern yellow bill. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the page. Crowned hornbills, occasionally you'll see. I don't think you'll see them up here, though. I have never seen a crowned hornbill up here. Who else have we got? Then we've got the southern red-billed hornbill. We get that on 2. And then that is all the hornbills. So 1, let me go back one more time. 2, 3, 4 very common ones. And then I suppose you can add in the trumpeter hornbill too. But that's it. That's it for the hornbills for us. I'm going to put my book away. And they're actually being very obliging. They're still sitting at the top of the tree as they listen to me. Oh no, now they've heard me say that, and now one has flown away. And I'm sure as the second realizes that its partner has dashed off into the distance, well, I'm sure it is going to continue and follow it off. And they're very busy at the moment. They're looking for things to eat. Maybe they've got chicks and they're working exceptionally hard. Oh, careful. White Lady here, when you say, oh boy, that's a lot of hornbills, that is indeed a lot of hornbills, but we're lucky. I love them. I think that they're wonderful little characters, especially when they're feasting upon termites. That's one of my favorites, the way that they pick the termites up and then do that very exaggerated sort of throw back of their head, and then the insect flies up into the air and they catch it. I think that that's a fantastic sort of trick to do. I try and do that trick all the time with Skittles and Smarties, sometimes with grapes too, but I don't seem to be able to catch them as well. And those hornbills as well, they've got those massive big beaks that you saw. So can you imagine how more difficult it would be, how much more accurate you'd have to be able to do that? And I've just got a normal mouth like everybody else, and I can't catch those types of things. Whee! And there goes. It might be difficult to see, but there was an African grey hornbill flying back over us, and I think it was the same ones that went far and wide and made a good effort to chase away that raptor that we just saw. Now I'm looking for our favorite herd of wildebeest, but I think that they've taken cover well, sort of behind maybe some shrubs, because they don't seem to be out in the open where they normally are. That's okay. We'll go around this way. And we're going to go and check around Sandy Patch and those areas. Maybe go check the more western boundary. And then check around Sydney's. Maybe the Nkuhumas are going to come back this evening. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to have a drive filled with lions. I've missed them. All the cats. We've been seeing lots of leopards lately, which is wonderful as well, but we all know deep down inside that the Nkuhumas are my favorite. Right, now we're going to keep searching. Like I said, you've just heard my plan, so let's jump back across into Byron's vehicle. And well, I'm not sure where he is at the moment, but let's go and find out.
I've got a beautiful brown snake eagle, Taylor. That's what that is. Have a look at that. That is incredible. Now, it's a bit difficult to get good light on him because of the cloud cover and the glare at the moment. But now, fortunately, our amazing camera work from David, we can see him very clearly, this beautiful brown snake eagle. Now, we always joke and say, is it because they eat brown snakes or because it's brown and it eats snakes? So I'll leave that up to you to decide. But they do hunt reptiles, they do hunt snakes, and also birds and that, they'll hunt them too. A very beautiful eagle. I do enjoy seeing brown snake eagles. Look at that incredibly sharp beak, very, very sharp. Curved beak. And obviously they use that to tear open their prey. It's amazing how it keeps its balance in the wind. You can see it's constantly moving the tail a little bit. The body's rocking, but managing to balance very, very carefully in this windy condition. Right up on, they do enjoy. The other thing is, eagles, it's interesting, but you can sometimes, and I wouldn't say it's always accurate, but you can occasionally get, or rather, you could probably tell which eagle it is by where it's sitting on a tree and its posture. Now, brown snake eagles enjoy sitting right at the top of trees. And they've got a very upright posture and a very broad, wide head. So it is often easier to tell them apart from other eagles. And also, they are not true eagles. And what I mean by that is, if you have a look at those legs, do you see they don't have feathers all the way down the legs? So true eagles like martial eagle, African fish eagle, the tawny eagle, they all have feathers right down their legs. Those are true eagles, known as true eagles. So this, because it doesn't have feathers, is not known as a true eagle, and it's just purely a classification of eagles. But very upright posture, and it is still a very, very large bird. I'm going to see if we can get a little bit closer. Oh, now, Roger, you want to know if this eagle catches mambas. I wonder. You know what, Roger? I saw a clip not so long ago where a brown snake eagle, I think, had been bitten by a black mamba, and it was, it's just taken off, and off it goes. Let's see if we can see it flying. But Roger, it was bitten. I think it may have tried to go for the black mamba, but it was a big black mamba, and it bit the eagle. And I think eventually the eagle was about to die. And I saw this incredible clip where a leopard then came in and was harassing the snake to try and get the eagle away from it. So that was incredible interaction. I've never seen anything like that before. And this leopard, being as fast and agile as they are, was basically fighting and hitting this mamba. Isn't that incredible? It was amazing, and it was here in the Sabi Sands, I think just south of where we are. So it really was an amazing sighting, and very interesting, very interesting. We've got some birds flying in front of us. A yellow-billed hornbill, look at that, just sitting on the ground. And it's probably looking for little insects in the grass. And I wonder if it's going to come out again. Now, we are going to have a short fake advertisement. When we return, we will hopefully have news for you on the leopards. Maybe we find any sign of them. Alright, so that was our fake advertisement. And we are practicing for our TV show, everyone, which is on Sunday night. Don't forget, Eastern Standard Time at 11 p.m. on Nat.Geo Wild. So these little things that we do are all practice for the TV shows. So we'll hopefully see you all on Sunday evening too on live television. Very exciting. Now I'm going to continue in search of some leopard activity. While I do that, let's head back to James and see what he's up to.
Right, we're on foot now, everybody. We've left the tent, closed it down, headed out on foot, per foot, himinenge, ngezqatulo. We are walking upon our feet. There is a Nyala, who is also walking upon his feet, isn't he, Brian?
He is.
He is walking upon his feet.
Isn't that incredible?
It is astounding. It is awe-inspiring.
Well.
And the monkeys there, yes, I saw them leaping from the tree. Now, these nyalas are much enjoying quarantine clearings on account of the marulas. They do enjoy a good marula fruit or two, and that's why he stopped underneath that marula tree, in which the monkeys are. Can you see the monkeys? They're actually in that tree. Let's take a few steps closer. Remember, we're as live as Byron, etc. So hashtag Safari Live, of course, and we will be doing the highly entertaining fake advert breaks, which are very important, and thank you very much for bearing with us during them. Good. Right, the monkeys are just up ahead here. Hello, Gavin. You say cattle have the propensity in the United Kingdom to lie down when it's going to rain, and you want to know if antelope do the same thing. No, I don't think they do. I think they do probably exactly the opposite. They stand up and they try and keep an eye out. They come into areas like this and they look around for what might be coming, because when the storm comes, as we all know, of course, the wind blows away the scent of predators, it blows away the sound, and of course the darkness makes it difficult to see them as well. So no, I've never seen antelope lying down as a result of the rain. I've been fascinated to see a cow do that. That's very interesting. Let's just keep moving slowly forward. That Nyala is getting used to us. He's picking up the old marula fruit. And there was a monkey in the tree, a few monkeys in the tree that he's underneath. There they come. They're coming down now. Now this is interesting. There are a few of them popping down the other side. Can you see them there, Brian?
No.
They're coming down the left-hand side of the trunk there. Another one coming down the middle now. And there's some in the tree behind as well, and now they're running across. Now the reason they're doing that, because this is counterintuitive to, I'm sure, to many people. Why would a monkey, so good at climbing, leap out of a tree when a human being went towards the tree? And the answer is because they think we can climb. They're totally cornered there, and our bipedal figure, our primate-like shape, has given them the notion that we are actually good tree climbers. And so they're totally cornered in the top of a tree, and instead of waiting to see if we can climb, they choose to jump out and run, because they know they're faster than us, but they're not sure that we won't be able to trap them in the tree. And I suppose maybe they don't think necessarily that we can climb, but that we might be able to outweight them underneath the tree and trap them from going anywhere. So they definitely see us as a predator, but if we were a leopard or a lion, they'd definitely stay in the tree and just start shouting and going. They'd go higher up into the branches where they didn't think they could be caught by human beings. Now we have 30 seconds to go back to our TV show, which is not different from the show we're currently doing. 10 seconds or so from now. Here we go. Welcome back everybody to your live safari from the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. We're on foot here with the Nyala. Byron is looking for leopards beyond the Nyala, and Taylor is sitting off to the left of the Nyala with a male lion. Send us your questions. Hashtag Safari Live is the best way to get hold of us. We'd love to hear from you. All right, that's the end of my introduction, everyone. We can carry on with our walk now. Good. Well done, Brian.
Well done, Ben.
Thank you for pushing that into my face.
Oh, splendid opening.
Thank you. This is quite interesting, James. You say in honour of Friday the 13th, you want to know what are some of the local people's superstitions and ghost stories, I suspect, with Friday the 13th. Of course, we get asked this on Hawaii, at Hawaii Day.
Hawaii Day?
On Halloween as well. I'm going to turn to my good friend Herbert here, who's trying to hide away from the camera. Herbert?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Herbie, are there any superstitions that people have? Things that they think are going to come in the night, maybe, and get them in the villages out here?
You mean on this day? Or?
Yeah, like these days.
No,
not anymore.
Really. Yeah.
Okay. And did people in this area believe in utogoloshi at any stage?
Yes, they do. They believe in tokoloshi.
And who is togoloshi?
Tokoloshi is a big baboon, as they call it. They call it tokoloshi. But the one that walks at night.
And what does it do?
And it actually do different things.
Yeah.
It might steal food from your house. We're using magics. Mm-hmm. It might steal money from your pocket.
Would it ever kidnap a child?
Yes, they do, because it's all about magic.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
There we are. Marvellous. Thank you, Herbert. And I suppose the thing to remember is that people do in this area still very much, a lot of people believe in much magic, right, Herbert? And I mean, you will often hear people describing the fact that they have had a spell put on them, or that somebody doesn't like them and therefore they've been to a traditional healer, or well, a particularly nasty one who's given them some kind of medicine that they can put onto their enemy's homestead, and that will bring them bad luck. So that sort of stuff absolutely still exists out here. And well, I mean, there are lots of superstitions everywhere in the world, I suppose, but those are some of the ones here. Okay, let's carry on. I can see the Nyala down there again, but the monkeys have absconded. We're going to do a little bit of a loop around, probably to the western side here, and see what we can pick up in that block over there. And while we do that, Taylor is not too far from us with Nsuku, he with the equal sign across his nose.
We've left, of course, the lion now. Now we're traveling on Triple M. Because like I said to you, I want to come and have a look and see if there's maybe any tracks. We haven't seen Shadow in a while. Now, I wonder if, and you know what she's like, she's quite sneaky when she does pop onto Djuma. So I just thought I'd come and have a very quick look around here to see if we could pick up any sign of her, or any life really. Any cat would be really nice. And then once we're done with checking the boundary over here, like I said, we're going to go towards Sydney's Dam and stare around there for a bit, and then check the northern sector. And I'm really hoping that the Nkuhumas come back, because I've missed them lots. And of course, we've got a TV show coming up, as most of you know, on Sunday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Nat.Geo Wild channel. And this, of course, unfortunately only applies if you're living in the USA. But otherwise, you get to watch us every other day. But that's exciting. So I really hope that the whole pride is together for the next show, because I feel as though we're well overdue in introducing them. And I think that the third show would be just the perfect time for them to, well, pop their heads in and say hello. And hopefully we get a Birmingham or two as well. I think that would be fantastic. But I'm just scanning. It's so thick at the moment. I don't know where to look. Because it's the afternoon now, there's been a lot of vehicles driving up and down on Triple M. So I'm thinking that, and with the wind I'm going, I don't know how many tracks are really going to be left behind, so I'm actually just really looking around, scanning the trees, scanning the termite mounds, but we've got a bit of a way ahead of us. So while we search for any sign of life on this side of the reserve, let's go across to Byron now. And I'm actually still not sure what his plans are for this afternoon, but hopefully he has been keeping you up to date.
Taylor, I'm keeping everyone guessing with my plans, but my plan for searching for elephant has paid off. Look at this. We found a beautiful herd that are moving through slowly. I'm going to spend some time with them because they're slowly heading in our direction, and I'm hoping we get to see all of them. I have seen some youngsters in this herd, some little babies. So it would be wonderful to see these little babies. Now, James was chatting about Friday the 13th and superstitions and all of that, and these babies have actually just given me a little bit of a reminder. Big congratulations to my friends Jeff and Jen, who just had their little baby boy today. I hope they're not superstitious on Friday the 13th, but let's see if we can also see some of these young elephant that are moving through here. That would be wonderful. But congrats, guys. Such wonderful news when you hear friends having their first newborn. Really exciting stuff. I'm hoping these elephant come out. They're feeding very, very slowly. This is so wonderful. I'm so excited. I'm sure all of you who watch regularly know how much I love elephants. I love spending time with them. I'm really, really glad that we got to find this herd. Garrett, now you wanted to know if anybody's seen that angry elephant. Shame, he's got such a bad rep already. Now, when I saw him, he wasn't angry, so I'm not sure. But I don't think anybody's seen him today yet, Garrett. Now have a look just off to the left. There's a young bull that's just joined this herd. There he is. Look at those beautiful tusks. Wow. Hang on, everybody. These elephant, I think, are going to walk across the road in front of us. There we go. They might move a bit quickly because that bull is walking right behind them. I'm just going to move out the way a little bit. Here we go. And then we'll see some of these youngsters too. There they go. You know what? We'll just keep an eye on them and see which way they go. And I might just decide to follow them unless they cross south. Look at that. There's some youngsters. There we go. Wonderful. I was actually hoping that they would be heading towards Twin Dams, which is not too far down the road, this road that we are on, but it looks like they're just heading directly south. I'm going to move forward a little bit, see if we can get closer to the last few. And look at that, there they go. There's still a few coming through. I'm going to switch off and hopefully get a little bit closer to some of them. Wow, there's a beautiful big elephant off to our left. He is massive, everyone. I'm going to try and get you a view of him. This is a huge bull. Wow. Look at this magnificent animal. I missed him actually originally. He was hiding behind some trees. Hard to believe that he can hide behind trees.